Merkel Media.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please, gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Look, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dave on NBC.
Jack Marius Tactheratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Dave Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Muammar Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
Passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center. $1 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long play.
Some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangled and Fort Lauderdale?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you're watching us on Rockfin, Odyssey, Band.video, Vigilante.tv, or you're listening wherever podcasts are served, thanks a million. We appreciate your support. Speaking of Vigilante.tv, Anarchapulco is coming this February 2023 from February 6th through the 10th in Acapulco, Mexico. If you're interested in going, I can save you some money. You can use the promo code MACRO when you go to anarchapulco.com. The link for it is in the description. I don't expect anybody to remember how to spell Anarchapulco, but it's down there. It's going to be, I'll be speaking, and more importantly, I'll be getting out of Colorado in February and be in Mexico, which is, let's be honest, it's what it's all about. It'll be me, Ron Paul will be there, David Icke, Max Egan, Larkin Rose, Dan Dix, Del Bigtree, Mark Passio will be there. And I'm sure Mark Passio's presentation will be super serious, and I'll be very scared after he does it, because his are so amazing. Andrew Kaufman, Dr. Carrie Madej. Look, if you have kids and you're worried about that, they have a kids camp set up too. So it's good for the whole family. I think people will be interested. So if you want to get out and you want to take a look, you can just use Macro when you go to anarchapulco.com. If you're buying tickets, it'll save you a little bit of money. Thank you to our newest sponsor, and I think maybe one of the most important sponsors that we have, Legal Shield. This is the collective buying power of all of us to get ourselves access to high-powered attorneys at a very reasonable cost. And when I say reasonable, I mean $1 a day, $30 a month will get you access to this. Look, we need this protection. The wealthy people have access to attorneys. They don't sign contracts until their attorney sees them. They wouldn't sign anything that their bosses gave them at work without running it by their attorneys first, and neither should you. Also, I asked this question, and I think it's a reasonable one. When was the last time you updated your will? If you haven't done that in a while, you need to do it. If you don't have a will at all, you need to get one. And I know it's not something people want to spend money on. It's if you want to get a will for yourself, it's $1,000 probably. Your spouse needs one. There's another $1,000. A medical directive, a financial power of attorney. You've got to have these documents. You just need them, and then you put them away in your safe. And then if something happens to you, when something happens to you, it's going to happen to all of us. At least you'll have the legal stuff covered. You'll have your paperwork. You don't want to have your family going through your passing and then have to deal with the state. Ugh. So be an adult about this. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody definitely wants to spend the money on it. But now we got an option. Now, I would suggest sign up for Legal Shield if it's right for you, and then immediately contact the attorney in your area that you'll be partnered up with. The average attorney has 22 years of experience, so you're going to get a good one that knows what they're doing. Call them up and say, listen, I'm a new member. I want to set up an appointment. I want to come in and take care of some documents that I need, and I would like for you to help me with that and set up a time, knock it out. This is what we've got to do. Okay. We just have to do it. And then you'll have access to an attorney from there on out for a very reasonable price. I think it's worth it for everybody. I'm really grateful that Tony Arterburn hooked me up with the guys over at Legal Shield because I signed up for it myself. I think it's valuable for you, but I'll tell you what, you make the call. It's up to you. I'm not going to, there's no hard sell on frankly, there's no sales pitch really needed for this. If you go over to their website or to our website that we built for it, you can take a look for yourself. www.don'tgetpushedaround.com is the website. You can sign up right there. They've got a identity shield too. You can add that on. That's credit monitoring, reputation management, password manager, all that good stuff. We have that. There's a small business plan too. If you own a small business and you need some legal representation, there's an option there for you. So do this. Just go to the website, see what you think, see if it's a good fit for you. If it is, you've got everything you need to pull the trigger there. Don'tGetPushedAround.com. And Chemical Free Body. Thank you to Tim James and the crew over there for keeping us healthy. They've got some winter packages set aside for you guys. If you're thinking about it, we're getting into that time of year, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, where people start to get sick, but he's got a really great product called V-Stack over there that will help how do I say this without getting us in trouble? The COVID vitamins. He's got a dropper thing called V-Stack. It's really powerful. The way they've got it set up, it will prevent it. You can use it as a preventative measure. You can use it if you're actually in the process of feeling kind of bad. I used it right before my Hawaii trip. I felt a sore throat coming on. I hit it a couple days with this. It went away. Tim James knows what he's doing. Go to chemicalfreebody.com and take a look, see what you think. I mean, this is the time. You got to take control. Nobody's going to get healthy for you. You're going to have to do it yourself, and so this is a good place. I know that the vitamin industry is scammy. A lot of the products don't work very well, but Tim is so convinced that his work, and I can attest to it, that he's got a double your money back price guarantee. So he really says, bring it on. You guys won't find anything better than his. I agree. I take it every single day. So take a look, see what you think. Chemicalfreebody.com, promo code macro to save yourself some money. Well, we're going to go over to Portugal right now to one of my favorite people. He is the host of Connecting Minds podcast. He is the author of Autism Wellbeing Plan, How to Get Your Child Healthy. He is a certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, which sounds really cool and important and is, but it is very difficult to say that. I am talking about my friend, Christian Yordanov. Good to see you again, Christian. How are you, buddy?
I'm great, brother. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a great honor to be on with you.
Well, you've had me on your podcast, Connecting Minds, a couple times. I enjoy our conversations. I know you and Ricky Varandas have that Portuguese connection going on, but more than that, you guys like to talk, and you guys talk about interesting stuff, and you guys always have a really good conversation. I appreciate that, but I also like the fact that you're really well-rounded. You're working in the tech industry. You've got this banging podcast that's out there. You've also written about autism. This was a really fascinating one for me because in my octopus book, I got into the pharmaceutical industry. Obviously, it was pre-COVID and got into it and talked a lot about this. And this is the sort of topic that will get you really funny looks from a lot of people when you start talking about the vaccine industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and autism. They're very defensive of this, but your book lays out, I think, some really smart. You don't really you seem to not attack the pharmaceutical industry as much as you obviously could. Instead, this book is more about solutions than anything. I think people really appreciate that. Can we at least talk about how you wound up writing this book? Because I think that people that have that either have kids, young kids, or are planning to have kids need to get this book, because you give a lot of advice on how to get your home ready for welcoming kids into your home. And I went through this a while ago, and it's like, God damn, like the amount of preparation you have to do for your house to get it ready. You're like, baby ready. Like, this is barely ready for me. You're like, now I have to baby proof this place. Holy shit. And so there's a lot. I'm just curious, how did you wind up getting into this topic?
Yeah. So back in 2018, someone in my family, quite close, a child, was suspected, just to kind of keep the details private there, exactly who it was, but there was the kid was suspected that he's on the spectrum. And at the time, I was really getting into the health stuff. I've been into the health industry in some ways since 2008. That's when I first started doing courses into fitness instruction and personal training and so on. So in 2018, I was reading this book called Nutrient Power by God, why am I blanking on the name? It will come back to me in a second. William Walsh, PhD, Dr. Walsh, amazing researcher. I think he's done blood work and tests on, I think, more than 30,000 autistic individuals. He's worked with all sorts of folks with schizophrenia, depression, even serial killers. So he's tested the blood chemistry of a number of serial killers, right? And I was fascinated with the book because he had a chapter on autism, but I was kind of skipping over that chapter. I had more of an interest in what's up with the depression. I have folks in my family that had suffered from depression. So I was like, well, is it biochemical? Is it genetic? What is up with depression? And I was also interested in schizophrenia, and I was also, of course, fascinated with these serial killers. And one thing I saw that was common among all those things was, for example, a lot of heavy metal toxicity, right? And a zinc and copper imbalance, where zinc is very low and depressed, and copper is extremely elevated. And so with this child, being suspected of being on the spectrum, I immediately dove into the chapter on autism there. And I saw similar things in all the chapters. It's always low zinc, high copper, chemical toxicity of some kind, heavy metal toxicity. But I dug deeper. There was obviously studies that he cited. So I got into those studies, which led down a rabbit hole I've probably downloaded since then, more than 1,000 studies that I've gone through for the book. In the book, I cite almost 500 studies. And from there, basically, I put together a little ebook. I said, I need to share this information with more parents. I went into some of the Facebook groups, dude, and it was depressing, dude. It was so depressing because these parents, nobody's helping them. This is what you want to talk about, conspiracies, dude. I think there's a conspiracy of silence out there. I think it's criminal what their doctors are doing, because as soon as you go to a doctor, what does the doctor tell parents all the time? The first thing they're told is it's genetic, there's no cure, it's lifelong. And this is like the most horrible way to clip their wings, right? So I put out an ebook, and I was like 70 pages. I've done a bunch of research into it. But then I told my girlfriend at the time, she's my wife now, I told her, no, nobody's going to take me serious, including these folks that I was helping in my family, until I write a book. And I got to write a book. So basically I spent 8 months, 12 to 14 hours a day researching and writing and editing this book. And that was 2 years ago. Funny story, I published it the same week that in March 2020, when the big COVID lockdowns happened.
Yep.
And of course, everybody was scrambling left, right, and center to, stockpile toilet paper. So the launch didn't do too well. But that's kind of how I got into the topic. And I have a couple more books I want to write about preparing for pregnancy, and separately pregnancy nutrition and recovering from pregnancy, because as you probably know, most folks they only start reading about pregnancy when they discover they're pregnant. So I think you have to delineate between the two, because there's some issues with, you don't want to tell a pregnant mother to be what she should have done, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the plan for the future. I'm planning to maybe do some courses on it first, because it seems like that's what people want more than books, as you probably know.
Well, yeah. Well, especially in America, nobody reads. So I'll go on like shows in the UK talking about my books, and I see like book sales spike, and then I go on shows in the US. Nobody buys. They're like, eh. So yeah, if you've got a video version of it, at least in America, it might do a little bit better. But you're right. I mean, I think people like what a crime for doctors. I mean, for doctors to tell patients that it's genetic, that it's lifelong, and there's nothing they can do about it. Now, if that is true, if that is really what it is, then that's one thing. But if that's a cover story just because the doctors don't fully understand it and they want to get these patients out of their office, or they don't want any sort of lawsuits, because hey, you told me to get these vaccines, and of course the pharmaceutical industry can't be sued for any of that stuff. But that's really devious. But so there are ways to improve the quality of life of autistic individuals, right? I mean, I don't know that I'd be careful if I were to say reverse it, but mitigate it or make it less severe, or at least, improve the quality of life, right? So there are things that can be done.
Oh, dude, like, I know we have to tiptoe around this stuff, and I honestly, I've never said it like in public like now, but I've said it to people close to me. In my personal opinion, if you get a kid, let's say you suspect them at 1-2 years of age, and you go whole hog on, the testing, the diet supplementation, toxin and stress reduction, all the stuff that I talk about in the book, I believe in many cases it's not that you're curing anything, because this is what I explain in the book, right? Is autism is a label, right? So some kids are diagnosed with, let's say, autism. Some are Asperger's, others are ADHD, others are oppositional defiant. And over time, over like the last couple of decades, some of these labels have changed. The autism spectrum now includes PDD, pervasive developmental disorder. So it's a moving target what it is, right? These quote unquote disorders, and now we can't even call them disorders. Now it's conditions, because we're hurting people's feelings and stuff. And it does in some ways actually, like, to label a child like that, if they identify as they have a disorder, I don't think that's healthy for the children. So I agree with many parents that want to do away with the label disorder, right? But the point there I'm trying to make is or not we, but the folks that write DSM, the DSM version 5 now that we're at, they label a constellation of symptoms as X, Y, and Z. It could be depression, could be autism, whatever. So those symptoms is what I argue, and many other practitioners, functional medicine doctors, and even medical doctors, we argue that those, in most cases, most of those symptoms are the result of some type of underlying cause. And I'll give you a simple example, right, off the top of my head. There was one study that they did where they gave the autistic kids in the study, I think it was the antibiotic nystatin. What's peculiar about nystatin is it only works inside the gut, right? And it works particularly well with some Clostridia bacteria species, right? In that study, the children had a marked improvement or reduction in autistic symptoms. Now, we know that in some children, Clostridia bacteria is quite prevalent. Why? So we know that nystatin works against Clostridia. So we cannot say. We in science, you could never say this causes that, right? It's very difficult to prove causation, for whatever it is. But we can, if you have to be very, very dim to not extrapolate that the nystatin knocked down the numbers of the Clostridia bacteria. So whatever the Clostridia were doing, be that immune activation or some toxins that they were releasing into the bloodstream, getting into the nervous system, into the brain, causing those symptoms, got reduced because of the nystatin antibiotic. And it was a temporary improvement. And why was it a temporary improvement? Well, some Clostridia species are spore forming, so they leave behind the spores like eggs that hatch later on. So you knock them down, then the spores hatch into the next generation. So the symptoms return. So that's one simple example where, it's clear that the behavioral manifestation was caused by an underlying physiological or metabolic issue, in this case, a bacteria, Clostridia, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one example. And there's many others, dude. Like, for example, a lot of people that get headaches or skin problems, or sleepiness, or just moodiness and just kind of mood swings and stuff. This could be caused from again microbiota imbalances. It could be from food sensitivities, and if you remove those foods, their headaches go away or the skin issue. So there's a lot of stuff that we can just, like, the medical system will label as a disease or a disorder that is simply a manifestation of an underlying imbalance. For example, just one final example. This is a very interesting topic that I haven't really dug into a lot, but when I was doing my research into hair testing for minerals and heavy metals, one of these guys, Dr. Wilson, he talks about minerals and metals having anthropomorphic qualities, so they change the human, right? That's why they talk about aluminum is a soft metal. They call it in those circles soft in the head metal. So, dementia, Alzheimer's, aluminum can cause that kind of stuff. Selenium is a shiny kind of flexible metal. So kids with, in some studies, at least one study, kids that had the low selenium level, they were more rigid and more difficult to kind of change habits and move from one activity to another. And there's every metal. Like, for example, I know people that are very high in iron. Iron is a very brittle, hard and brittle metal. So people that have very high iron, they tend to be very angry and kind of brittle people, like easy to slide, this kind of way. So it can go on and on and on. And lead is a heavy and dull metal. So this is why, I'm sure you know this, is lead causes low IQ. It's a heavy, dull, soft metal. It just causes think about the energy of that. Like, so, you know what I mean? So if you remove these things, doesn't matter if it's autism or depression or any other stuff. If you remove these underlying physiological metabolic imbalances or health challenges, as we can call them, invariably, you don't have only physical improvements, but also of the mind, psychological improvements.
Wow. It's funny because I was my ad read talking about chemical free body. Tim James went through the same thing. This is why he started the company, because he was fat in his 30s and he had eczema and he had all these skin issues, and he was just convinced that he just had an unhealthy body. But it turned out he changed his diet. He went to a place and learned how to, learned about diet a different way. And then when he changed his diet and he changed his gut health and all that, magically, like the eczema that was showing up like on his elbows and knees, he was saying that his knees would get so raw from the eczema that they would sort of break open and sort of like it stick to his pants, like on the inside, stick to his pants, and it was, he just was convinced that was the way it was going to be, but he changed his diet and his instead of going and putting like topical ointments on it, which he did on his eczema and everything, it turned out that it wasn't an external thing. It was an internal thing. And he changed his diet, and that changed all of this because it's all connected. So with the gut health, I've never heard, that's fascinating. I've never heard about the anthropomorphic features of metals turning, basically you mimic the metal that you're full of. So if you're full of iron and it's brittle and easily broken, you're easily angered. And that is really interesting.
Another one, a fun one, is it's called the calcium shell. It appears as a very high calcium level on a hair test. And that's when people, they built a shell. It's like a wall. So those people, their feelings are dulled. It's basically, they're very sensitive people on the inside, but they've built this wall around it to protect their ego. I don't mean it in a bad way, but their sense of self. Yeah.
Wow, that is interesting. So when you're looking at all, like you said, I mean, your book is full of footnotes. I mean, there's at least 40 pages at the end of footnotes that, because you, like you said, you looked at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of studies. And, I'm glad you did. And I'm grateful that you did. But like, where are the doctors in all of this? Like, why is this your job? You know what I mean? Like, you're not a doctor, but I mean, you're not technically a doctor. I mean, you probably
identify as a doctor, though.
Yeah, you're certified. you identify as a doctor.
A pregnant doctor.
Yeah, you identify as a pregnant Ukrainian doctor. But again, like, if we were to discuss the root causes of autism, I'll take you in a debate over a general practitioner that doesn't really know the depths of this stuff. So like, let's talk about the gut health again too, because this is one that in America, we don't really think about that stuff too much. We're heavy on antibiotics. And we know that does, we sort of make this assumption, we'll just take some antibiotics and that'll fix it. And maybe it will, but there's a price you pay where it drops like a bomb on your immune system, and it takes out the bad bacteria, but it takes out the good bacteria too. And so we're always sort of behind the curve in terms of like improving our gut health. What are some things we can do to improve that, regardless of the autism component? Because I know that can be a factor. But if it's just normal people out there, like what should we not be doing, and what are some things that maybe we can just add in that's easy for us to do?
Well, I'll tell you, Charlie, the principles of getting healthy or reversing, whatever nasty. I don't want to say, again, we have to tiptoe around certain terms, but the principles of getting and staying healthy and reversing chronic issues, let's say, are pretty much the same in almost all cases. And the devil in the details is, with autism, you might focus on specific, let's say, tests to identify each and every child has a different set of circumstances causing those issues. But the factors that disturb the balance of the microbiota are the same. So therefore, the same things you do for an autistic child would be similar things you do for an adult that just wants to get a bit healthier. So to start with, you just have to do the basics, right? And I really sincerely believe that a lot of your audience will know this stuff. Unfortunately, common knowledge is not always common practice. So purified water, that's got to be your bedrock. Organic food, and this is a big one, right? Organically grown food, as much as possible, really has to be the most important pillar of anybody's sort of health program, right? And the reason, especially in the USA, the reason for that is because, as you know, glyphosate is used in pretty much all conventional agriculture. Now, what glyphosate does, the way it works, it inhibits a pathway called the shikimate pathway in God, I don't know, I have it all in the book written out, but I forgot exactly. It inhibits this pathway where it basically inhibits the growth. It stops certain compounds, certain amino acids from being able to be created. I think they're like tryptophan. They're the ones that basically we use to build some of the neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and stuff. Phenylalanine is one. Tryptophan is the other. There's one more. Anyway, so glyphosate disturbs this pathway, and it basically messes with the bacteria in our gut that produce these compounds. So a lot of neuropeptides, a lot of for example, I think it was like the majority of the serotonin in the body is actually synthesized in the gut, even though it's a nervous system chemical, right? So glyphosate and any number of other toxic substances, they insult the intestinal lining, causing intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut. They hurt the good bacteria. So those two things then lead to a number of other things. So we have like 60 to 70% of the immune system cells are co-located in the gut somewhere. So leaky gut causes various undigested food particles and other toxic chemicals to get into the bloodstream. That causes immune system reactions, and that causes a cascade of inflammation, tissue damage. It can even lead to autoimmunity. Also, a disturbed microbiota can cause pathogenic organisms to invade or overgrow, like bacteria, parasites, and yeast and candida, right? So you want to remove the insults. So that these are the toxic substances. So crap in the water, crap in the food. So processed foods, notoriously full of shit. Emulsifiers, they cause intestinal permeability. So that's one thing. Again, processed food. What else is there? Sorry, I actually have the contents of my book just to jog my memory because there's just so many things. So food colors, MSG, anything high fructose corn syrup, all of this stuff you got to remove. Then to heal the gut and to keep the gut healthy, you want to eat stuff like fermented foods. So I make my own Greek yogurt style with, just take milk, put the culture in, make my own sauerkraut. I take a good probiotic, so a spore-based probiotic. That's really helpful, right? Then a couple of times a year, I recommend this for all adults. A couple of times a year, like say in March and September, around with the changing of the seasons, you want to do a parasite cleanse, right? So take a week to 10 days, take some type of herb, so garlic, black walnut seed, grapefruit seed extract for the candida. And there's several different concoctions you can take. You can make your own, oregano oil. There's quite a number of different things. If you go to iherb.com, put in parasite cleanse, antibacterial protocol, a ton of stuff will come up, right? So you want to do that a couple of times a year in conjunction with a probiotic. And, what most people don't realize, if you don't do that, you more than likely have some type of underlying pathogens going on, right? So if you don't do that a couple of times a year and you've never done that, there's actually quite a high likelihood that you got some shit going on, right? And it could be contributing to diminished sleep. It could be maybe contributing to constipation or loose stools, or skin issues, and you just don't know. That's it.
Yeah.
So those would be the couple of things I would recommend.
Yeah, I went through this, what Tim, James, and I kind of jokingly called a detox in the box, and it had like toxin detox, gut detox, but it also had ultra enzymes and probiotics to kind of balance, to add that in towards the end. And it was like, it just felt like, you change the oil in your car, you flush out the, you take your car to a mechanic, they flush out the radiator sometimes. I just feel like, God knows what's going on inside of us. You need to flush it out every now and then, and just have a good cleanse of some kind. I've done it. I've done the cleanses where it's the stuff that you drink. I've done the stuff where they fire water up your ass. I was like, I'll try it, and I was like, whoa, this is weird. So like whatever you can do to sort of get that inside cleaned out, because goddamn, we're in like a toxic soup out here.
Oh, yeah.
Food we eat is bad. The EMF radiation that we're now living in, because it's invisible, people just think it's not there. And I think all this stuff affects us, it affects our moods, it affects our physical health, it affects our ability to concentrate or lack of concentration. What's a good suggestion, or maybe the gut thing is the way, but to get these heavy metals out of our bodies as best we can, because I know that they get in there, and you mentioned the aluminum and everything sort of getting in and causing Alzheimer's type of memory issues, and it has to do with its ability to get into that, cross over the blood-brain barrier and get kind of lodged in there. We know we live in this really polluted environment, but there's got to be ways to drag some of this stuff out of our body, right? Is there anything that we can do to incorporate into our lives to at least try to clean up some of this stuff?
For sure, bro, for sure. Before actually getting to that, there's something that I have to tell you about, and I was just chomping at the bit. I was like, how am I going to crowbar this into the conversation with Charlie? More people need to know about this, right? Have you ever heard of the liver gallbladder flush?
No.
Well, dude, so my plan is next week I'm going to start doing a video course on it, and it's going to be on udemy.com, like for $15 or whatever. When it's done, I will send you a free link to it, and you can share with your audience. But the liver gallbladder flush, and there's a great book, I'll send you the link to the book. The liver gallbladder flush is basically a 6-day, 7-day process. So for the first 5 days, you drink a liter of apple juice, which has malic acid, which softens the gallstones that are not just in your gallbladder, very likely, but inside your liver's bile ducts. There's a medical term for it. They're called intrahepatic stones, and these are bits of bile and cholesterol and various other toxic things. They're actual they're stones. I did one a couple of weeks ago, second in a series that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do about 6 of them. I've done it before, but now I'm gonna do like 6 or more. And it's as big as my pinky fingernail. Some of the stones that came out of me the next day, right? So first 5 days, you drink the malic acid either as a supplement, or on the 6th day, you have breakfast and a light lunch of just vegetables, no protein, no fat, and then you drink Epsom salts a couple of times, flush you out, and the Epsom salt and relax the bile ducts of your liver and your gallbladder and the common bile duct. Then, on that 6th day, you drink half a cup of oil with half a cup or so of grapefruit juice. You shake that up, knock that back. You lie down in bed immediately, and you lie there completely still for half an hour. And then the next morning, the magic will be in the toilet. And listen, dude, I sincerely believe that anybody that is listening right now, if they do this, it might not happen the first time, but if you do this 3-4 times in a row, you do it once a month, roughly, the stuff that comes out of you will be shocked. My mother was visiting for a few weeks here, so she did one the day before me, right? Dude, I kid you not. She told me in the morning, something hit the bottom of the toilet bowl. I'm like, what? She's like, it was this size, and I'm talking 4 or 5 centimeters, almost a couple of inches in length, something like that. She's like, something just smashed into the bowl like that. I'm like, I really think that one was a gallstone, because in the gallbladder, I've been reading some of the papers on it. In the gallbladder, they're more up to 80% some type of mineral, calcium, whatever else. But in the liver, they're more like the softer biopigments and cholesterol and stuff. So obviously, there's they're soft when they come out because you've been drinking the malic acid. So this, in conjunction with a parasite protocol, is what I stopped doing them because, I had like other engagements, having a baby and all that stuff. But this is part of my, in March, in spring, and in autumn, twice a year, do that after your parasite cleanse. Because actually certain protozoa can go up the bile duct into the liver. For example, I had blastocystis hominis a few years ago in 2019. And my mentor on my functional diagnostic nutrition course said, you might want to do a couple of these. That's how he got me onto that, This thing is freaking verse. You should read some of the people's reports of this, right? So
I will do it. If you send me the when you get the Udemy course up and everything, I will do it. I promise I will do it, because I love this stuff. I'm interested in trying it out. And like when Tim sent me the detox in a box, it was like a 90-day package. I finished it in 75 days, and I was like, well, like I didn't even realize how much lighter I was until I was at the vet. And they had a big scale in the lobby, and we were waiting, like the cat was getting worked on. And so I was sitting in the lobby, and I got up on the big scale where they put the dogs on, just to try to weigh myself. And I was like, oh shit, this must be wrong. And I had dropped, I'm normally 160 pounds, and I dropped 14 pounds from this.
I know because I listened to that episode with Tim, with you, actually two or 3 days ago. Yeah.
I was like,
I listened to that.
I'm okay. Like this, like, and I was like, well, this explains why my shorts don't fit anymore. Like, I just wasn't really paying that much attention. Then the next day I'm like, I better go. They have a scale at the gym. I'll they got it out, and I said, let me do it. I'll weigh myself again. It's like, nope, it said the same thing. And I was like, damn, this is so I'm up for a good cleanse. And the first, actually, it's funny that you say, to be the first time I ever did the colonic thing, which is weird. It's a weird, I was very uncomfortable the first time, but I did it in LA. This was years ago, and it was at this place by the Beverly Center. And there was this an old Russian lady that was in charge of it. And I was like, okay, this whole thing is like, I'm just going to do it. We'll see what happens. And then there was like a tube where like you can see kind of like what is working its way out of you. And I saw this thing go by, and I go, what is that? It looked like a marble. She goes, gallstone. And I went, what? She goes, oh yeah. And I was like, interesting. And I don't know what it was, but I saw some stuff coming out, and I was like, this doesn't look good. And she's like, well, this is like, your first time around, your first time doing it. You're going to get all kinds of stuff out. So I think the cleansing, I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, that, Hollywood, it's the Hollywood cleanse. Sure. There's a lot of like fake stuff going on out there. But we do need to clean out our insides, and I'll try that for sure. You got to drink a gallon of apple juice a day?
No, just a liter.
Oh, a liter. Okay.
Yeah, like a quart. But I don't like it personally because it messes with my blood sugar. So next time around, I'll just buy these malic acid pills from iHerb. Or you can buy it powder. Anyway, it will all be in the course. I'll send you the book as well. It's a very nice read. Cool. It's a quick read. But a couple of things. So actually, we did 3 colonics with my wife earlier this year. So definitely, I would recommend. In fact, it's recommended before your flush, before the actual cleanse of the 6th day. It's recommended to do a colon cleanse ideally if you can afford it, before and after, but they're pretty expensive. So you can also do, I just do a water enema or 2 the day after. And the 2 or 3 days before, there's these oxygen pills you can get on iherb.com, which they're basically just magnesium oxide, and they just make everything in your entire tract liquid. So just it's a great cleanse to prepare you for it. Then, God damn it, I forgot what the other thing I was gonna say. Anyway, just to get back to the heavy metal stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of the stuff, but I think Tim really knows his stuff. In fact, I really want to try this C60 stuff myself at some point. But here's what I'll tell you about. Oh, so sorry. This is what I wanted to say, right? So, in terms of, so after the brain, the liver is the large. In fact, it's actually bigger than the brain. I believe it's like 3.3 pounds is the adult liver. It's the second most complex organ in the body is the liver, and everybody knows it's the organ of detoxification. It neutralizes and sends toxins to be excreted through the feces, etc., through urine, through the skin. So think about it like this, right? How does one set the conditions for the body to detox all the crap from the environment and whatever else better to improve the efficiency of the liver? So these gallbladder flushes, you do like 3 or 4, as many as you want to, until the stones stop coming out, and then you do like your maintenance once or twice a year. So if you can improve the functioning of the liver, you're already setting yourself up for success. So other stuff, right? This is, I guess, some folks don't know, and I've actually written about it in my book, is deficiency in certain minerals predisposes you to absorbing certain heavy metals. I'll give you one example, right? If you are deficient in zinc, the body can uptake cadmium because certain enzymes can do certain jobs at let's say 60% of the efficiency. It's like if you have a hole in your wall and you take like a Coke bottle and slap it in there, it's doing the job not as well as a brick or whatever. But so the body is so intelligent, man, that it can take certain heavy metals to substitute in places where those enzymes need zinc, let's say, and so that the enzyme can do some of its job. It's freaking amazing, right? Yeah. So some of the research that I've seen, for example, if you're deficient in calcium, the body can uptake more lead, for example. Certain deficiencies in zinc, iron, magnesium can cause, again, the most prevalent heavy metals to be uptaken more or to not be detoxified correctly. So minerals, here's the thing. Minerals, if you start remineralizing your body, it will naturally start excreting heavy metals. And one way this has been proven is, so this dude I was talking about, Dr. Wilson, he's big into the hair testing stuff. And I verified this with multiple clients and myself and my wife, of course. Once you put someone on a nutritional program, so, obviously the diet stuff, of course, is important. But once they start taking minerals, for example, we've been taking 60 milligrams of zinc for like 2-3 years, and loads of calcium, loads of selenium, and so on. If you measure the levels of minerals and heavy metals in the hair at the start of the program, and then every 3 months, what will happen is you have a certain amount. Everybody will have a little bit of mercury, a little bit of aluminum, or a lot, depending on how toxic they are. But once they start the program, those levels start going up. So mercury goes up, aluminum goes up, some cadmium might be shown up, and you see these start going higher. Then on the, let's say 6 months in, you do another hair test, they're even higher. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? I'm healthier. But what's happening is it's an organ of excretion, the hair, as is the skin. So you have the building blocks now and the energy as you get healthier to excrete all this stuff. So the number one thing to enable excreting heavy metals and toxins and everything else is to give the body the nutrients it needs to do that. Once you give it enough, first of all, enough calories, all the vitamins and minerals it needs, it's gonna start doing that. So zinc, super essential, dude. If you're a dude, or you identify as a dude, or you were born a woman, now whatever else, right? Just messing around. You gotta, dude. Like, they revised the RDA for men for zinc to like 11 milligrams down from 50 milligrams. I take 3 to 4 times more than that just from supplements per day. Never mind from all the meat I'm eating and cheese and eggs and whatever else. So if you're a dude, you need to be taking calcium, magnesium every day. You got to take 500 milligrams of 600 milligrams to 800 milligrams of calcium, half to the same of that in magnesium. So if you take 800 milligrams of calcium, you got to take 400 to 800 milligrams of good quality magnesium, at least 30 milligrams of zinc. Obviously everybody's different, and whatever else, a good quality B vitamin, because you need energy and functioning cells to excrete toxins. And how do cells function? How do they create energy? It's through the mitochondria. So the mitochondria, if you look at the electron transport train and all how the energy is created, that cycle, there's a bunch of B vitamins involved. There's iron. There's I think selenium as well. So you have to provide all of those nutrients. Then another couple of really amino acids, right? A lot of people don't know about it. They don't take enough of these. So amino acids, N-acetylcysteine. I don't know if you heard about the debacle last year about N-acetylcysteine. I believe the FDA were going to make it illegal to buy as a supplement, or they were going to. So it got pulled. I think Amazon pulled it from the States, and then iHerb, they were going to stop selling it to US customers. So all the NAC supplements were like sold out. People were stocking up, and I believe now you can't get it unless it's through a prescription. But what NAC is, it provides cysteine, which is one of the 3 amino acids of the antioxidant called glutathione, which is known as the master antioxidant of the cell. So this is what binds heavy metals, chemicals. It binds them and neutralizes them and allows them to be excreted from the body. So you want to support glutathione production with N-acetylcysteine, and the other amino acid, glycine, is so it's three amino acids. It's cysteine, glycine, and glutamate. So if you take daily, which I do it every day, glycine. If you take glycine and N-acetylcysteine, you are now giving the building blocks for the most important, most powerful antioxidant in the body to be manufactured. And here's the deal: when you neutralize a toxin in the body, you use up glycine or cysteine or whatever other vitamins, minerals. To neutralize it, they conjugate, they bind to these toxic substances to neutralize them. So when they get excreted, you now have less of that compound.
Right.
So this is my rationale why we have to supplement the diet, even if you eat at the exact nutritional requirements of your body, because the world is so toxic. You're now under, when you detoxify everything you need to that day, you're actually under what you require. So you have to eat above and over and above what you actually need, right? So those are a couple of things. Then everybody knows sweat. I have a clear light, far infrared sauna, the small little unit that you lie in. Don't use it as much as I want to, but I sweat a lot like crazy in the summer. Anyway, I sweat, dude. I get up from this chair, I start sweating. I'm just that kind of type. So a lot of sweating, super important. But those are those things. And just wanted to add one more thing, Charlie. When you told me that you did that protocol and you lost a lot of weight, I'm glad that you lost the weight whilst being on a detox protocol, because one of the most dangerous things, and not be binding it and like to not be supporting the body, because as soon as everybody has this, right? As soon as those fat cells start melting, all that gunk and crap, it starts circulating around the body and it gets lodged in the worst places that you don't want it to be, like the brain, the nervous system. So it's really good. One thing that folks have to remember: never lose weight quickly. That is the most dangerous things. I've tested the hormones of a man who he's been on yo-yo diets all his life. Like he lost like something like 20 pounds, like 10 kilograms, 9 kilograms, dude. And his testosterone was shot, like it was way below the bottom of the range. His estrogen was higher than his wife.
Whoa.
And his indications talking about, and they were like almost negligible. So completely all his antioxidants were depleted because the body was trying to protect him, right? So that's why you have to do it the way you did it. If you're gonna, well, in your case, it happened naturally, but that's why a lot of people hold a lot of weight, is because it's a protective mechanism.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So if you store up all that junk, you got to have something that grabs it and pulls it out of your system too, or else it'll just settle somewhere else. That's even worse.
Some will get removed, but it will overwhelm unless you're adding those NAC, glycine, B vitamins, and all that good stuff. You will run out, and now you're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, you've got so you've got this autism wellness sort of plan. I'm wondering if somebody's, if someone's taken the vaccines, as they've given them to their kid, they've developed some sort of issues. You've got this autism wellness plan that sort of battles that. There's people that have taken the shots. Is there some sort of, or maybe, next best thing, something that we could recommend for those? Because I get a lot of people that are like, my family took the shots, and I understand that mRNA changes things, and that kind of throws a monkey wrench in this. But still, are there things that can be integrated in that what these COVID vaccines have done to people?
So this goes back to this NAC, the N-acetylcysteine stuff that happened I think it was last year. Now on my conspiracy mind is like, why, of all the supplements, why ban NAC from just being able to be bought over the counter? And I'm not sure exactly what happened. I was looking for some articles into it, but I just didn't have enough time to dig. But from what I understand, if you're in the States now, you need a doctor's prescription to get NAC. So I'm like, why would they do that for this particular substance? It's because it's one of the most potent ways to boost your innate detoxification capabilities. So I don't know. Maybe it's just another one of those weird coincidences, Charlie. But so I briefly, there's a guy called David Avocado Wolf. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
He has a Telegram channel. So folks that are listening, if you go to his Telegram channel and you obviously search for his channel, join, and you can search there for the COVID detox protocol that he talks about. But from, if memory serves me correctly, and what I instinctively would do anytime, look, we don't know what's in these jabs, truly we don't, but what we know about injuries is that immune, they can contain certain heavy metals, right? So what you of the things that they can, so polysorbate 80, so emulsifiers, various foreign compounds, let's just say. So foreign compounds, again, the most potent way to excrete them would be through the endogenous or the body's own antioxidant system. And you have to just understand that most people are in an extremely depleted and unhealthy state, especially folks that, if you're going to be taking a jab, I don't even know, is organic food on your radar yet? And I'm not judging, it's just that unfortunately in the States, just people's health, we know is just, many people have like 2-3 conditions. So N-acetylcysteine, get it through your doctor, through your naturopath if you can. Glycine, there's another form of glycine called trimethylglycine. Now it has methyl groups that, methylation is another way that you can neutralize certain toxins. Methylation is used in kind of DNA related gene expression type processes. So that could be beneficial. Zinc, definitely. Again, we've been taking like 45 to 60 milligrams of zinc, tons of calcium, all the minerals, right? All the minerals, selenium. So selenium also helps with detoxifying, which I mean, it's just everybody has mercury. Like not one human on planet Earth doesn't have copious amounts of mercury in them, right? So those, then a very high quality B vitamin complex, of course, because you need the energy. Your body needs the energy. Your mitochondria need to be fed or need to be given the nutrients. That basically energy is the currency of the body, and the more energy you have, the more capable your body is to detoxify crap that you inadvertently or purposely took. So those would be my my recommendations. That obviously you have to. I would recommend drinking distilled water.
Okay.
Obviously, just organic food, no crap, because every unhealthy thing. Burden of the body. If you're already burdened with, let's say, you need to like a vaccine injury, you have to give the body pristine conditions in order for it to do its job, right? And it will do its job as much as it can. I just really hope that it's not as bad as we think it is. These jabs.
Yeah. And because our little conspiratorial minds, we can get going on it, and we can see some really bad things on the horizon. And I hope we're wrong, man. You've got like actionable information here. Like this is stuff that people can like. I envision people needing to like restart this episode from the beginning with like a sheet of paper and a pen, taking notes. And I encourage people to do that. Where's the best place for people to get your book, to find you, to find your work, to follow Connecting Minds podcast? Like where's the place for people to find you?
Yeah, so my website, if you just put my name, christianyordanov.com, or if you stick that in DuckDuckGo or whatever, everything will come up. The book is on Amazon, Autism Wellbeing Plan, or you just stick my name in. Udemy.com, I have a couple of courses now. I'll be putting on a third one there tomorrow. And there'll be more courses there, not just for autism, but for like adult health. I'm planning to do a gut health course, etc. But christianyordanov.com, that has links to the podcast, and I'll have more articles, and everything will be there eventually in the coming weeks and months. To be honest with you, Charlie, I had given up on interneting last year. I was like, this dark winter BS, is it even worth doing stuff online? But yeah. I'm actually, you're like one of the guys that kind of inspired me to get back into it, because I'm like, Charlie knows better than me what the fuck is up, and he's still doing, he's full steam ahead doing it. So, I got to thank you for kind of inspiring me and giving me some motivation to continue on, because it could be this year, it could be in 10 years time, it might never happen. So we have to continue with our missions, I believe. So yeah, that's what we got to do, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I love your stuff, man. I encourage people to get on board with this, get themselves cleaned out, man. Look, if you're sitting around waiting for somebody else to do it or the doctor to give you a pill, they just don't think the way that we think. They're reading old books. They're following Rockefeller standard medicine practices that just treat symptoms. They don't cure anything. If you want to fix yourself, you're going to have to be responsible for it. We're not doctors, but hell, go re-listen to this episode and write down all this stuff and see what you think. Incorporate it into your lives, because when you feel bad, man, nothing else matters. It's hard to get up for anything, and it's hard. It takes the joy out of this life that we have, and who needs that? So if it's preventable, prevent it. If it's fixable, fix it. But if you're sitting around waiting for someone else to do it for you, you're going to be sitting around and waiting for a very long time. That's Christian Yordanov, everybody. He is fantastic. Buy his books, support his work, and check him out. And if you like this episode, or if you think that there's somebody in your life that is having some health problems and could benefit from this, there's a little option, share this episode with them. If you want to connect with me, the website is theoctopusofglobalcontrol.com. You can follow me on Twitter @macroaggression. Thanks, everybody.